live. We are
Going
live. There it is. It is live for the pre-stream.
Excellent.
For all those that wander in and listen to us all babble about all the miscellaneous things. Whatever miscellaneous things we have.
Squirrel!
Definitely squirrely.
Yeah, not too bad. A little bit of work done this morning. Finished making the chicken broth so I can make a stew later.
Speaking of chickens, I've been keeping an eye on the chickens. Turns out they do have a bit of thrush. There's no real one way to get rid of it except for putting stuff in their water. So I gotta go to the shop and get some stuff to put in their water to get rid of thrush.
What stuff goes in their water?
Oh, what's it called? I have a list of it. I had it. I probably closed it in preparation for the show, but it's like different vitamins and stuff, and also I can put some apple cider vinegar in there to help out with the thrush as well in the meantime. Yeah, it's just a bunch of like vitamins, minerals, all the good stuff that you have to throw in there once anyway. And putting a little bit of vinegar in there about once a month will actually help to keep the thrush at bay, is what I've read. And if nothing else, apple cider vinegar is good for them. So
yeah.
Just not straight. You add it to their water. Yeah, it's a good way to help with their health overall. And thrush is non-life threatening or anything. And it's something that can happen, as it turns out, if you feed your chickens too many carbs, like too much bread, too much rice, you give them too many treats along those lines, you can end up giving them thrush. And the way you can tell it's thrush is like on their wattle area. It gets like this powdery white stuff on it. In a human, like a baby will usually end up getting thrush in their mouth. So it's like almost a gooey white stuff on their tongue, but it's gooey because it's in their mouth.
Yeah.
The thrush on a chicken is outside, and so it's kind of a powdery. It took me so long to figure out what this is. I'm very happy now.
Well, that's good.
And fixing it is actually fairly easy. You just got to go get the right stuff, and it's sold at most feed places.
And then make sure not to give them all of the carb leftovers.
Yeah, well, you can just spread it out and give them apple cider vinegar in their water once.
There's a little excess of bread and rice from there.
Once in a while, yeah. We've cut down on it a lot, but still, it's too much for chickens to have as leftovers regularly. So you got to cut down like once a week.
Well, there you go. There you go. For those who turned in early, learn about thrush and chickens.
Chickens with thrush. A little different, because thrush is a whole thing on its own, just to be fair.
Whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, for the news for you, that picture that's up there, that was actually taken with a phone. The colors are amazing, eh?
Yeah, well, phone cameras have come a long way.
Yeah, and like those colors weren't heightened or changed or anything. That was actually what the sky looked like. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was taken by one of my daughters. All the pictures and news for you is like my photos or a photo that the kids took. Mostly it's my photos that I've been putting up. Kind of cool. Which I really need to get around to putting it all into an album on the site, which I will do for anyone who's interested. That is happening, likely this week.
Okay. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Lots of fun. Yeah, I've got nothing major to babble on about today.
Nah. Has it stopped raining down there?
Mostly.
It has not stopped raining up here. If anything, it's just getting worse. We must be keeping all the rain from you, because you guys don't seem to be getting those super heavy stuff.
Well, it does, but usually while I'm sleeping.
Ah, lucky you.
Not when I have to go out and walk the dog.
Yeah, that's true. I guess having the dog is keeping you pretty active despite the rain, eh?
Yeah, I have to go out there, rain or shine.
So, do you like have to change clothing a couple times a day in order to get all the wet clothes, or is it just dry?
The clothing I now have sheds most water.
Oh, good. That's useful.
Yeah, I bought myself some fairly good clothing, some tactical gear that's water resistant. It's nice. It's nice, comfortable, warm clothing. It's got a couple of weak spots when the wind's blowing, but
Thinking of water running off of material, we tested out the tent this weekend, and it turned out, even though it's one of those tents from Amazon, which we really weren't sure about, turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold heat at all once the fire goes out, but
no, canvas isn't designed to hold heat.
I was also surprised because like while the little fire, because the tent we have is good for like a little wood stove in there, and while the wood stove was going, it felt like it was holding heat.
That's because the wood stove is constantly generating it, and it doesn't. You don't have the wind carrying away the heat, so it stays in the room.
Huh. Yeah, it didn't occur to me that way. I don't.
But the moment you stop continuously generating heat, it all starts to escape through the canvas. Canvas Canvas is not an insulator.
I thought maybe because of how thick it is or how tightly woven it is, it would hold the heat.
No.
But I've never gone camping in a truly canvas tent before, and I've never gone camping in a tent that has a wood stove in it before, so I didn't really know what to expect.
Think about wearing canvas is slightly thicker than cotton. Think about wearing a shirt, long sleeve shirt with no jacket to insulate. How well does the heat stay on your body?
Not great.
Yeah,
but if you're inside with that long sleeve shirt, you overheat pretty fast.
Yes,
it.
That's because you've got something, heat inside. Or when you throw, like you could throw another insulator on the outside of the tent, and that'll help keep it warm. But you gotta have an insulator. There's no insulator. So, all right, with enough of that babbling, it is time for some music to get us started.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes
Alrighty then, it must be time.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress Plugins A to Z, not Z.
It's episode 636, and we have plugins for WP Mail replying with easy horoscopes abroad, and some WordPress news, all coming up on WordPress Plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress Plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the brewery overlooking beautiful southern Vancouver Island. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Amber overall.
And, of course, she's busy editing stuff on the fly there just because I mispronounced the word in there. Not my fault. That was the way it was written.
Oh, it is now, for sure.
No. But anyway, welcome to the show, everyone. We got usual great stuff for you here today. I've got a slide-in section that I'm sliding in later on just for having fun and bringing some other pieces of information and stuff to the show. I don't really have all that much to babble on about. So with all that said...
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
Well, thank you for passing the mic on. Welcome to episode 636, WordPress's dramatic leap forward from well-knitted sweater to soap opera star. I gotta say, I love these titles that Grok has been coming up with.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of great in-depth plugins to cover for you, some recent news in both the WordPress world and the tech world in general, and some awesome WordPress tips. So a happy Remembrance Day to everyone. Hopefully people were able to make it out to something or other. I know a few people here did. I didn't, though. I was fixing the notes. Hopefully everyone out there is also staying warm and dry. Like I was mentioning in the little chat area, I don't like the rain, but it is better than having to deal with the snow that people are already dealing with further up north on the mainland. So I am kind of grateful that we don't have to shovel it here yet. Just a few reminders before we start the show today.
Before you pop into the reminders, I've got to slide this one piece in real quick because I usually do it further in the show or further at the beginning of the show, but it kind of slipped by me. We're going to take a moment, honors and taps. It is November 11th. It is Remembrance Day, and just a minute to honor our veterans out there. Okay. It's a taps with a 21 gun salute for those that didn't count the shots.
Awesome. Well, I've forgotten we had that. I'm glad that you have that still. I'll have to remember for next year for sure.
Yeah, well, I try to remember it when the show falls, especially since the show fallen today on Remembrance Day, and both my dad and my brother were veterans, so.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people in our family are. So moving on to reminders before we start the show today, be sure to check out our newer thing called News for You. You can find it on our homepage right next to the latest podcast and on our left-hand menu. Show starts at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time every other week on Monday. Join in for a pre-stream. Starts about 12:15ish. Or, you know, words are kind of binding up on one another. This is a value for value show, dear listeners. So help us get some love by hitting some like buttons, sharing an episode or two, or lovingly forcing your family members to listen to us. You can crank the show way up while you're listening to it, and then somebody out there is bound to enjoy it and like it and start listening to it themselves. And don't run away at the end of the show either. We have some decent Q&A coming up, and I'd just like to mention for those who are unaware that sometimes the Q&A section is designed for people who are new to this industry to help them kind of understand something or ask a question that they may not even know they need to ask yet. Sometimes it's more intricate questions that are designed to help people who've been around for a wee bit longer. So you never know what you're going to get. Always worth listening to. So starting with this week's featured artist, Sir Grok. I think that's what I'll call him from now on, is Sir Grok.
Sir Grok.
Yeah, Sir Grok. I'll have to ask him if he likes it.
Sure, why not? Who knows? He might.
He might. I mean, I've gotten some pretty cool answers from him so far. I don't know if anybody else out there has bothered asking Grok when his birthday is, but turns out his birthday is whatever somebody asks him, whether or not it's his birthday today. That way he can just enjoy it with whoever.
He can have a party continuous.
Pretty much, yeah. So yeah, this is our art today. It's actually pretty cool looking. And the sweater looks so fuzzy. I can't help but wonder, would having a sweater on the outside of your spacesuit actually do anything?
Probably not, but that's what's it took him 4 tries to get me a decent image today. So,
yeah?
Yeah, or yesterday. He
Awesome.
He kept trying to put humans in it, and I said, "No, I don't want humans. Do it again." I want something that just looks
awesome.
weird. There you go. It's nice. It's a nice photo. It's a good photo. So I like the stuff that Grok's come up with. Saves me a ton of time.
Mm-hmm. Well, it makes me think of a old grandfatherly fellow with his old sweater just going for a walk and finding himself out in space or something.
Yeah.
All right, on to the news.
All right, we got to get on to the news.
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! And now the news with Amber.
All right, so first thing we have is the WordPress vulnerability report from Solid WP. In this report, there are 285 vulnerabilities, and all of them are plugins. 99 have been patched so far. And we're still waiting for the rest of them to be patched. I think it's 186 that have not been patched so far. I think I even saw a tiny MCE in there for needing some work. So make sure you go through these lists, because I don't really mention the ones I recognize anymore, because sometimes the lists are really long like this one, and it's just, there's a lot that I'll recognize. But do make sure you at least scroll through once so you get an idea of what you need to address on your own site.
Yep. Yeah.
There are no themes or anything that have issues this time. Next one is from PatchStack, vulnerability report from PatchStack, which even Solid WP refers everyone to PatchStack to get the most up-to-date things. When I wrote this, the most recent thing was FormMaker by 10 Web. Yeah, it's still a top one. So it has an issue. That one is a plugin. What you can do is you can go through, you can check out the issues that are going on. Right now it's set to all, but you can set it to plugins or themes or various things. Play around with it a little. You'll get the hang of it. Next up, we have WordPress 6.7 Release Candidate 3. This is the third release candidate, or RC3 for short, for WordPress 6.7, and it is now ready for download and testing. For those who like to live on the cutting edge of the WordPress experience, this is exciting. They finally got to 3. I don't think they go any further than RC3, do they?
Not usually. Usually they don't go much further than RC2. I thought it was supposed to be released this last week. So I know
Ah,
it had a November release. I just don't remember when in November.
I thought it was like 25th or something.
Yeah, it might be. It might be, but keep
But-
in mind they have so many changes in this. Block
Mhm.
changes, core code changes. I read the list recently. It was like it's pretty high. Do not update immediately. Wait a week or two. Wait until everyone
Yeah.
else out there breaks their sites and they release all the patch fixes for everything they're going to break. This one here is a real heavy update. So be aware of what's coming down the pike. Or if you have a development site, testing site, update it there and see what happens.
So when did the point versions become the big updates? I thought that like the main number update was a big update.
No. The big update is the 6 point whatever. That's a big update. A super major update is when they go to version 7.
Okay.
That's a major update. Then there's the major updates, 6.1, 6.2, and then there's the point fixes, which is 6.1 or 6.7.1 or 6.7.2, where they fix all the little bugs.
Oh, okay. I'm getting it now.
Yeah.
It's taken me a long time to finally get the hang of this.
Mhm.
So if anyone else out there is still working on it and you've only been doing this for a couple of years, don't feel bad. I've been doing this for 4 years now. I'm just getting it. 4
Yeah.
years or 5 years now.
You're coming on 5.
So I'm just getting to the point now where I'm actually learning. I'm not just doing the straight up hill thing where everything is all new to me. Now I'm actually learning things. It's not all new to me anymore, but still there's things that take a while to get the hang of.
Yep.
So yeah, anybody who wants to test this out, go for it. And for anybody who's newer and doesn't know, this is not something that is completed. It is still like a beta. It's still in flux. So if you want to test this out, test it in something that is a playground.
Yeah, well, test it in Playground. And our release candidate is not a beta. It goes from beta to release candidate. Release candidate is we think this is production ready. Time to test it and see if there's any immediate bad bugs that we can find that have to be fixed. If we don't find any, this RC3, if they don't find any major bugs, this will be the release that comes out in a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay, now I understand. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, they start with alpha, and then they go to betas, and then they go to release candidates. And sometimes they go to, like, this has been a while since I've seen RC3. They usually only get to RC2, and then they release it. So this is one of the few times where they found additional bugs in release candidate 2.
Well, hopefully they don't find too many issues.
Yeah.
Next up, we have WooCommerce set to launch new logo in 2025. Excuse me. So the new logo is like just Woo, and then the 2 O's turn into a thing. Here, press play on that so that everyone can see. It turns into a shopping cart. Isn't that cute? That's a new logo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they came up with a new logo because they're still cranky about not being able to change their name to Woo. They had to go back to WooCommerce because of SEO problems. But now their logo is just this, Woo. But yeah, this is the new logo. They're going to be releasing it. What they have to say about it, Tamara Neeson, Chief Marketing Officer at Woo, told WP Tavern, "We saw an opportunity to evolve the brand so it aligns with our new product vision and gives us a solid foundation for continuing to grow our business. The new direction helps us stand out. It's bold, fresh, and communicates what we do and who we're for." So that's essentially what this whole article is about, is how this connects to who they are becoming. And if people are interested, I have the link right here in the show notes of going to check out the new logo. Next up, we have Matt Mullenweg's State of the Word Address 2024. How to watch live and what to expect. So Matt Mullenweg is set to present his State of the Word Address live from Tokyo, Japan on December 16th, 2024. The community is rather expecting something a wee bit explosive to happen, considering what's been going on for the last few months. This could possibly be a very exciting, or the most exciting one that he's ever done, or it could, not be exciting at all. We'll find out. You can find all the details on how to join live here in the article, which you can find through the show notes.
Or you can just wait the next day and go download it from everywhere.
Yeah, if you follow anything WordPress on Twitter, you'll have the full video available to you on there.
Yeah, it'll appear there. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, it's going to be entertaining as to whether he continues his issues
His
or
war on WP Engine.
His war on WP Engine, yeah, and we'll see what happens. See if he's gonna pull back and I don't know. At any rate, go watch it. Have fun.
I like Hemdian's statement here. No program is complete until it's obsolete. I love it. So last thing I have for the news today to talk about is Apophis, a European space mission, gets up close with an asteroid that is set to brush by Earth. And I think it's like 2029. Yeah. So this asteroid is... The mission is about how to deflect a potential asteroid threat. It's actually pretty cool. The mission is set to visit an asteroid called 99942, or Apophis. Now, it hasn't been approved yet, but if it is approved, the mission that is known as Rapid Apophis Mission for Space Safety, or RAMSES for short, it will rendezvous with the asteroid in February of 2029. And don't worry, Apophis is not going to actually run into the Earth. It's set to safely pass by at the distance of 19,794 miles, or 31,860 kilometers, which is about a 1/12 of the distance from Earth to Moon. So you'll be able to see the asteroid with your naked eye, but you won't actually have to worry about it hitting us. But it's pretty cool. The whole space mission is to go gather information, figure out what to do if we ever have to try and get rid of an asteroid from hitting Earth. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, it could be. Could be quite cool.
And we have a whole bunch of stuff in the extras here. We've got some more WordCamp information, some WordPress stuff, and another space thing of theory versus data. Team tests Einstein's predictions by calculating the distortion of time and space. I thought that one was really cool too.
Yep, that would be cool. All right, before we dive into the plugins, I've got one little thing I want to ramble about, something I'm starting to see. And it's about people beginning to suffer from subscription fatigue. Now, subscription fatigue is happening not just in the WordPress world, but also happening everywhere. People have got their subscriptions to Amazon, Netflix, whatever streaming service they want. You know, a subscription for this, subscription for that. Well, in the software world, we've got the problem of Microsoft subscriptions, Windows, Office, Adobe, the list goes on. Well, it's sort of beginning to happen in the WordPress world for plugins too, because people are like, well, I need this plugin, a subscription for that plugin. Now, granted, their annual fees, but those fees add up after a little while. So I got a list of articles here that I found was interesting about what some people have had to say on the subject and where they think it's going and what it's causing. In particular, this started because there's another null plugin website that popped up about a year or so ago, and that null plugin website was someone who would go buy the premium plugins, a null amount, to remove all the licensing requirements and package them together and sell them to people at rock bottom prices. This has been done a couple, 3 times in the WordPress world since the beginning. While it's not technically a violation of the GPL code, it's kind of in the realms of unethical. But anyway, I thought it was an interesting thought, and anyone out there that happens to reach out to us, let us know what your thoughts are on subscription fatigue for WordPress websites, because I think it's something that's coming down the pike, and it's going to get worse as time goes on. It's not just going to matter in the WordPress world; it's everywhere. Even, for instance, I'm working to take a client off of Squarespace, and they've got massive subscription fatigue for all the little things that make everything work right. So it's everywhere. So
So subscription fatigue is just being tired of having prescription or subscriptions overall, or
Well,
having
no,
so many?
it's having so many that it adds up to, you know, a couple $100 a month, a couple
Ah,
$300-400 a month, and it's like that hurts your ability to do. You got to earn that money to pay that money before you earn enough money to go buy your groceries.
Now I understand what you mean. Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like oh, it was like in the beginning when Netflix first came out. You know, the subscription was what, $8.99. You know, you could get everything. Nobody else had streaming services, so Netflix had all the movies. And then Disney went, wait a minute, we should start our own. Yanked all their movies off Netflix, started our own subscription service. So now the people that want to watch Disney movies and the stuff on Netflix, not only paying, now what's it, $15 a month, something like that. They're paying $15.
I got rid of it ages ago.
Yeah, they're paying $15 a month to Netflix, and they also got to pay another $10 a month to Disney. So that's $25 a month. And then they've got, you know, sports channels and everything. So it's like the subscriptions, same thing with WordPress. Well, I need this plugin to create this function. Okay, it costs me $50 a year. Oh, I need this plugin. Oh, this plugin is a real big one. This one's $75 a year. This one's $20 a year. All those add up over the course. Some websites I've done, they have ended up with as much as $300 or $400 a year in annual subscriptions for their thing. Plus, there's the discussion here of when they're paying for that, are people paying for the code or are they paying for the support? And that is a debate that's been ongoing for a very long time. What are people buying when they buy a plugin? Are they buying the code or are they buying the support that comes with it?
I always thought it was a support, because the code, if you wanted to, you could fork it yourself and figure it out.
But only after you've bought the premium version.
Ah, yeah, okay. So you're paying a bit for both then.
Yeah. So it's an ongoing debate, which leads us back to the nulled plugin. Do you know what the nulled plugin is?
No, not really.
Okay, what a nulled plugin is where you get a premium plugin, such as the premium version of Yoast, and then you download it, you go through the code, you are basically forking it, but you're not changing all the copyrighted material. You're going through and you're removing the requirement to enter a license key for it to work fully, because it can be done in the code if you know how to edit the code. And so they're forking it, basically, but they're not forking it because they're still keeping it as a Yoast plugin. And that's a nulled plugin, is taking a premium version and making it so you can just install it on any WordPress website and it won't ask you for a license key to work. So anyway, that's the way it is, all works, and it's just rather interesting, and I thought that was an interesting piece to bring to the show today. So now, time to dive into our plugins. All right, the first one I've got, the only one I've got here today, is a nice, simple, basic, easy-to-use plugin called Reply To for WP Mail. Now, why would you use this? Well, the base install of WordPress, everything else, it puts in there, I can't remember it now. The reply is reply something at yourdomain.com. And it often says WordPress in there. Like if you look at the emails you get from the website, it's got WordPress, your domain, and some other stuff. Well, this little plugin allows you to go in and modify that reply to header for all the emails that are sent from your website. So you can make them more professional, make them so you understand them, especially if you're managing more than one website. Because sometimes you get them from websites that just say WordPress, and go, okay, which website is it? And you got to go look at the email. So this allows you to modify that reply to header so it can be tuned specifically for the website you want it on. And you can add a custom email address that recipients will use when replying to your site email. So like if they hit the reply button to an email that comes from your site, it actually will go to an email address you want it to go to, instead of, most often than not, a dead-end email. So anyway, a really cool, simple plugin that works, does the job, and go check it out. I give it a 5 dragon rating.
That's awesome. Now we have some yes, WordPress tips. So when you are feeling a little tired of working, like you need a change, go ahead and change something up. So something I've learned in this industry is that there is so many different things you can do and so many different ways you can do the same thing. Sometimes I think it's kind of amazing that we manage to actually understand things that other people have done, and like understand what other people have created, like how it works and everything, because there's just so many ways to do everything in this industry. It's amazing. And for people who are starting to feel the pull of boredom as they do the same thing over and over again, this is the perfect place to be, because you can go and you can learn something entirely new that is actually connected to your work and is really just furthering your skills, but it's so new, it'll get you excited again. You can go learn a new coding language, or go learn a whole new skill that will help what you're already doing. And if it was like pretty much any other industry, it wouldn't be connected. But in this one, it's all connected. If it exists on the internet, it's all connected one way or another. So you're really just adding to your current skills. It is so cool. And there's no way that anyone could stay bored for long if they decide to go and find out what they can learn. And I also think that maybe why so many people with ADHD end up in this industry.
Highly possible.
And my plugin today.
All right.
So I have Easy Horoscope.
Oh, don't worry, we'll edit that out in post.
Oh yeah, right. So Easy Horoscope. So when I came across this, I was feeling a little skeptical when I first saw this, because honestly, there are just so many poorly made horoscopes out there, and there's some horoscope plugins I've looked at, and they're terrible, and they're not really all that great. And while this one does give a very, I'll say, flowery description, it does actually give insights, and it does give descriptions of the zodiac that you choose. So once you have download and activate this, you will find under settings, then horoscope settings in your left-hand menu, the dashboard for this plugin. On the dashboard page, you'll see at the very top is a short code you get to use. To add the information to any of your pages. Now, it's the same short code for any of the horoscopes. All you gotta do is change the little spot that says zodiac sign. You change that into Leo or Scorpio or whatever sign that you want. Choose from any of the 12 zodiac signs, put it in there, and you're good. You put that onto your page, and it brings up this beautiful setting, or this beautiful setup. It's really cool. And it does actually change on a day-to-day basis. It's automatically uploaded, and it is pretty cool. Now, another thing is on this dashboard area, you actually get to personalize it. You get to change the background color of where all the writing goes. Currently, it's set to, or it comes set to, like, I think it's a peach color, but you can choose what color it becomes by adding your own hex or by clicking on the color palette. So, you can choose any of the colors you want. You can change the font size, font color, and you can choose whether or not you include a backlink. The backlink will send people to the company that made this. I think it's anyagramzoom.com is the site that they chose. So it's a weird name, so help them out with a link. Give them a little bit of loving for making all this possible to add onto your site so easily. So this looks great, and the information is pretty good. It's, like I said, it's kind of flowery, but it's not silly. Like, it actually has real information in there that can help people if they go and want to learn about their zodiacs. There is an option to upgrade. And although the free version does give you the basics and a little bit of personalization, from what I understand, the upgraded version, the pro version, is actually really cool. Gives you more information and more personalization and overall just more. So this is really awesome. I do recommend people check it out because it works beautifully. It plays nice with others. It worked on my very bad sandbox. It's my sandbox. I test everything out for whether or not it plays nice with others, and it worked very well on there. Didn't slow the site down, nothing. It's very nice. I rate this at 5 dragons.
Good God, Amber, not another 5 dragon rating.
Only the best.
I forgot we had that. So every once in a while when you do that, I've got to toss it out there. That's left over from the early days where you gave everything 5 dragons. It didn't matter what it was.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what? I've been following your example with only bringing the best this year, and
Yeah.
so far it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, well, this year I've only brought the best this year. I've just avoided all the other ones if it wasn't worthy. I just went, yeah, not going to talk about it.
Yeah,
We've only got a few more months.
Ones.
A few more months left, and then we go back to pulling up the crap and showcasing why you shouldn't get this or don't do this.
Yeah, it's like it has made it a little irritating though, because like in order to find a good zodiac sign one, I went through like 5 or 6 of them.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure of that. All right.
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A-Z.
So there are a lot of ways that you as our producers can utilize us as your tool to help yourself out and also give us a leg up as well. You can get yourself a producership credit, do an interview, donate some time, get your name up here, all kinds of things. You can look further into producership credit options by going to our site, WPPlugins.com, and clicking Time, Talent, or Treasure. We love the donations of Time, Talent, and Treasure. Treasure is a great option, but time and talent are really appreciated as well. We would love some more talent donations, because more talent donations would mean some art, perhaps. That would be awesome.
Yeah, it would be.
And we've got our miscellaneous announcements. Currently, we just have the next 5 WordCamp meetups listed out here. We have WordCamp Romania for November 14th to 15th, WordCamp Port Harcourt for November 16th, WordCamp Malaysia for November 22nd to 23rd, WordCamp Roclaw, November 22nd to 24th, and WordCamp Grenon, November 23rd to 34th. Honestly, that looks like it says Gremlin to me, and I know it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
You can check out all of the WordCamps that are available by going to the link right below that. And if anybody is interested in letting us know that they have a WordCamp coming up, or they'd like to let the world know about a meetup they've created for WordPress, let us know. We'll put it right here in our miscellaneous announcements and let the whole world know. If you're interested in reaching out to us, we have both our brick and mortar address and our internet addresses that you can get a hold of us. And today's plugins we covered were?
I covered up the reply to for WP Mail by Javier Caesars. All right, I butchered the name. Sorry, Javier. I got the first part right. Anyway, go check it out. Easy management of the reply to header for all emails. Specify your custom email address and ensure all responses go to the correct inbox. And I gave it a 5 dragon rating.
And I covered Easy Horoscope by Easy Horoscope. Easily add fantastic horoscopes to your page, daily fresh insights, and customizable design. Even though it is a premium, I rated this at 5 dragons still.
Very cool. All right.
It's question and answer time with John and Amber.
So if anyone has any questions out there they'd like to have asked here on the show, you can send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca. We stumped my dad once. I'm not sure it'll ever happen again, but it's possible. Now I know it's possible. So perhaps sometime in the future, we can work together and do it again.
Never going to live that down, man.
Nope, never. Besides, anyone who's new to the show, I have to let them know that it's been done once, so it is possible.
Yeah, granted, it did take you 4 years.
Yes, but it's
and
possible.
about 100 episodes. So
more than 100. I started doing this back in the 300 episodes. It's been like 300 episodes.
Really?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem that long. Okay.
Right? But it's been that long. So my first question for you today is, what do you look for to know when to check to see if your plugin is getting any more updates?
If it's a plugin for the WordPress repository, just go to their, well, when you look on it, it says the little button there that says more or view, or I can't remember the button that'll pop up the window to tell you the status of the plugin. It tells
View
you, right?
details.
Yeah, there it is, view details. Look there and see when the last time they updated it.
Okay. And
You
you're
know.
looking for like sometime within the last 12 months?
Yeah, within the last 12 months. And then you can sort of judge whether or not you're up to date, you know. And from there, you can also find the change log. You look at the change log to see when was the last time they added to the change log, how long it's been, you know, what they've done to it. That's when you know. If it's a premium plugin, well, you'll know by them not taking any money from you, or you paying money and going, why am I paying money for this? Has it been updated in a while? So, you know, that's basically it. You check the change log, you check the last updated date to see when it's been updated. And it's like there's plugins in the WordPress repository that I'm surprised they still let them stay alive and that haven't been touched in 12 years. You know,
Okay, but that answers my next question of how do you check to see if your plugin is getting any more updates? But what do you look for to know when it's time to go searching to see if your plugin is getting more updates? Like what do you look for on your site to let you know that it's time to check?
Well, you're having problems with the site. You've received some notification from your site about an error with this plugin. What else do I do? You just sort of look and go, why am I using this plugin? And then go look to see what it is and how old it is. You know, I've done that with plugins. I put them in there, forgot about them. And, the nice thing that happens is if you put in something like WordFence in there, WordFence does a scan for you regularly, and it'll tell you if it's found this plugin to have not been updated in 6 months or a year. You know.
Andean said, or use the Vendy abandoned plugin check plugin to flag up any plugin that hasn't been updated in forever. Yeah, that one is really good. I do like it.
Yeah, that one definitely will work. So there's probably other checks to find out. I just sort of pay attention to what I'm doing on the sites that I manage and work with regularly.
Okay, so connected to that still, is there like a regular amount of time in between checking that you should check your plugins to see if they're out of date, see if they need to be replaced, so on and so forth? Like every 3 months, 6 months?
6 months to a year. Every
Okay.
six. Proper management of a WordPress website is an annual review of your plugins and everything else that's in there. Annual review of security settings, the plugins that are being used, finding ones that have been abandoned, finding ones that are no longer relevant to what you do with the site. You know, so an annual review should be done on it.
So if you aren't really seeing anything totally red flaggy, just don't bother checking until like a time of year is a good time to do it.
Yeah,
Or a good way to do it.
Whenever you do a review of your website, annual reviews should be done on all websites anyway, just to make sure everything is still up to date, that something hasn't crept in. It's like I caught a piece of information through, what's her name? Diana from BlogAid. And it seems WordPress made a core change and didn't tell anyone. In the if you have a website, if your WordPress website was installed, this is information I should probably republish. I retweeted the information on her, but the directory line in the WP config, the WP config file, the directory line is at the very bottom of the WP config file. It's one you should never mess with. If you get it wrong, the whole WordPress site comes crashing down. But WordPress changed it from using dir or using file to dir. And they didn't tell anyone. At least they did. It wasn't widely spread around. She just discovered it, and she has no clue when it happened. She discovered it by doing her annual reviews on her client's site. She discovered this. And the research says, well, you should update yours if yours is pointing to the other thing. While they still work, it can start to cause glitches. And maybe a new plugin is using the new method and it's looking for that in the WP config, so it can't find its way around. So
I see.
So there are things you got to look for. It's like going through your WP config and changing your salt keys from time to time. You know. There's a lot of miscellaneous things. I built up a list of it several years ago and never published it, but I've got it somewhere in my documents. But it's stuff that I still use from time to time, especially when I'm renovating a client's website. I go through all this stuff and retweak all the security settings and resecure it. Sounds like Rogue wants to join the show.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Anything else to add?
Nope, nothing else to add on that one. I suggest we do our end of show credits with the dog howling in the background, and we'll come back for the final 2 questions. So those of you listening on the downloads, you want the really good stuff, you got to come check out the before and after of the show over on YouTube's. All right, we'll let our girl take us on out of here.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa-z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A-Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsaz.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsaz.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA-Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
There we go.
Man, that little cute giggle is probably going to be there forever.
It is. It is. He doesn't have that cute giggle anymore.
No, he's all like teenagery.
Yeah, he's 17 now, so that was from when he was 3.
Hemdian asks, anyone know an easy fix for site health warning about too many auto-loaded settings? Got this recently without changing anything.
Oh, we're fighting that one ourselves, Hemdian. Keep in touch. We're going to solve this issue. It's not just, I'm working with my coder on this one too. I'm talking to him on this one. This one has just started popping up all over the place for WordPress things. Now I have dug into the auto load settings, and what it boils down to is WordPress is auto loading stuff, and plugins are starting to add more stuff to auto load. And the auto load can feed up to a meg or more of space in your database. But the problem is that every time a page is called in WordPress, those auto load settings are popped up. And it's not just a page, it can be a calls. It's like if something goes wrong here, it can cause the WordPress website to suddenly demand upwards of 64, 128 megabytes, get towards a gigabyte of RAM suddenly. And it'll basically cause your website to crash if you're on a shared hosting environment where memory is shared. So it is a concern. And I haven't found the solutions. I just started digging into it because you brought it to my attention a week or so ago, didn't you, Amber?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I saw something elsewhere about it, and then I talked to my coder about it, and Sean, and he had a little information. We didn't get down too deep with it, and it got set aside. I saw it again this morning with some other things, and it's like, okay, I've got to make some time to dig into this problem because it is a problem, and many people are starting to face it, and they haven't changed anything. And that's the curiosity about it. Nobody's changed anything. It's just suddenly happening. So something is happening somewhere in the systems. It could have been a plugin you updated.
Connected to that change that Mayanna found.
Maybe, maybe not. Only if that could be a problem too. I don't know. Many things can be related to each other, and we just don't know what it is. So we'll have a
Definitely
solution.
a good thing we'll make sure we bring that up on our next show.
Well, I got to do some research on it first. So
Hey, you got 2 weeks.
yeah, and all of a sudden it'll be show day again. It's like, fuck, I got to do the show again. It's only
Having it every
been
other week has given us time to really work on everything else too. So
yeah.
I think every other week is working well for us.
Yeah, it's allowing us to get our other work done. Because people don't realize. Well, for me, it doesn't take much time anymore. But it used to take. Amber does for a 1 hour show, give or take, or half an hour of live time, whatever. Anyway, it's 3 to 5 to 7 hours of prep time total.
Minimum 3 hours, and that's when you're only halving it at all the effort.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I have another question for you.
Okay.
How can you figure out which plugin is doing what when it comes to things like pop-up creators and code creators, like pretty links and other things that are like this, when there's like 2 of each kind of plugin? How can you tell which one is actually being used?
Turn one off and see if it still works.
And what if you turn them all off and you don't really see any change? Do you have to go through every single little area of the website, every single page, every single section, just to make sure?
If you've turned off the plugin and you're still seeing the results of it, then something else is kicking out that data. If you're talking about like Pretty Link creating the short links, and there's another plugin that's creating short links, and you're not sure which one it is, you turn off Pretty Links and the short links are still there. It's the other one. If you turn off that one and the short links are still there, then something else is kicking out those short links.
So how do you find that? Like when you don't know what it is, how do you figure out what it is?
Clearing it off, go check. Turn it off, go check. There's probably some automations that are written for it. I've never had them, but it's kind of like when a plugin goes bad and your website crashes, and you've got 25 plugins installed, but you don't know which one caused the problem. You have to go through and disable. You want to test it to see if it is a plugin, so you disable the entire plugin folder, and all of a sudden the website works. Okay, so it's a plugin. So you re-enable the plugin folder. Now you got to go disable the plugins one at a time by manually changing the plugin folder name, and then seeing if the website will load. As soon as you get to the plugin that is broken, the plugin loads, and then you go turn on all the other plugins to make sure one of those other plugins wasn't also a problem but hidden. So it's a manual, tedious process, and I hate it when I have to do it, because sometimes it's taken as long as half an hour. Because sometimes there's 30, 40, 50 plugins, and you got to start at one end of the list or the other, unless you like to go randomly. Now, after you've done it long enough, you start to get an idea for which plugins actually cause problems on the regular. And if you see it's installed, you disable it, boom, it's back. Okay, you know it. But sometimes there's just no true indication, and the only option is to turn it off, go test. 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 And that's the same thing here. When you've got multiple plugins providing the same service, and you're trying to figure out which one is providing the service, you turn them off one at a time and see if that service vanishes. If the service doesn't vanish, it's the other one. Turn it off. If the service vanishes, it's definitely that plugin. If the service doesn't vanish, there's another plugin causing it, or somebody has written hard code into the functions file. So those are your options there, because sometimes people will dump code in the functions file that a plugin does. So those are your options: the functions file or plugins. So
all right. Okay, my last question for you is, when you have to replace an old and outdated plugin, is there a trick to finding one that will do basically the same thing? Or is it just grab it, test it, see if it works, continue on down the line until you find the right one?
You just continue testing until you find the right one. You basically go find a list of potential candidates.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, okay, these are it. So then you go read the descriptions, the data, the reviews, other bits and pieces of potential candidates, and you wheedle those down to your final 2 or 3, and then those final 2 or 3, you go test them on your website to see if it does provide all the functionality you want.
No
So,
shortcut?
There's no shortcut. No. You could say.
I was hoping you had some kind of secret shortcut that I could gather from you.
Okay, the secret shortcut is this: you take the names of the plugins, you print them out on paper in about 2x2 squares, and you stick them on a wall that you can throw darts into, and you stand back, blindfold yourself, or turn your back and throw the darts against the wall. Whichever ones they stick in, those are the ones you use.
I like your shortcut. I'll have to try
it. It's like finding plugins for the show that are good. There's no shortcut. How could you shortcut finding the perfect horoscope plugin?
Well, no, that's why I figured I asked the question. If there's a shortcut that I just don't know yet, and that you're sitting there laughing and cackling over having access to this shortcut while I do it the slow way.
No, there is no shortcut to hard, successful work.
Oh well. Maybe one day there will be.
It's called death.
Either that, or just talk to future you. Maybe there's a shortcut that way.
Well, yeah, future you might actually have all the information, but then again, future you already did all the hard work and it's given it to you past you.
Exactly.
So
it creates a whole new world. That's a discussion for another time.
That's a whole esoteric discussion down a strange, wanderous path. All right.
Hemdian said sometimes you just have to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. I totally agree.
Yeah, that's what you do. That's really all it boils down to. All right, well, that's enough rambling and babbling. I think it's time for us to carry us on out of the show. Thanks, everyone, for showing up, and everyone who peeked in for brief periods of time. We actually had a fair number of people pop and disappear today.
Awesome.
So, all right, a little music. Carry us on out of here.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
All righty, folks, that's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Oh my god, that is amazing!
Oh no. Obviously, we just lost the satellite feed.